tonight on CTV, it was chaos all across the state when a bomb cyclone caused schools, airlines, interstates, and government agencies to close. We have more on that tonight.
And this church is standing in solidarity with their LGBTQ members.
And so we have continued to treat LGBTQAI brothers and sisters as full equals.
Plus, find out how the men's basketball team did at the Mountain West Tournament this week.
All this and more starting now on CTV. Classes are back in session after what people are calling a historic bomb cyclone, which hit Fort Collins and Colorado's yesterday. I'm Ryan Christ.
And I'm Marla Lundak. This storm caused some serious problems across Colorado. Our weather expert Litos Castro has a look back on what happened yesterday. Litos?
That's right, Marlo and Ryan. If you were in Colorado yesterday, you more than likely had to deal with the rough winter storm passing through. Like you said, some are calling it a bomb cyclone, others are calling it Snowmageddon 2019. But either way, it caused some serious chaos. More than 700 flights were canceled out of the Denver International Airport, thousands of people lost power, and parts of I-25 are still closed. Now, it's probably a good thing that CSU and many other schools across the state canceled classes because road conditions were just too dangerous. Winds reached up to 50 miles an hour in Fort Collins and 80 miles an hour at DIA. According to the National Weather Service, the winds were equal to what a Category 1 hurricane feels like. It's no surprise that semi-trucks like the ones you see behind me were blowing over on I-25. And if it wasn't the wind causing trouble, slippery roads were. In fact, 100 cars crashed within a 1-mile stretch of the interstate. The dangerous driving weather led to the unfortunate death of a Colorado State Patrol trooper who was trying to help a car stuck along the road when he was struck by another driver who lost control. We at CTV send our love and support to the patrol team and all those affected by the storm. During dangerous weather storms like this one, it's best to stay indoors and off the roads as much as possible. Marlo?
Thanks, Litos. That's right. It was pretty bad yesterday, and even today, road conditions aren't great. Main roads across town were fine, but side streets and neighborhoods across campus were basically a nightmare. I don't know about you, Ryan, but walking to class from off campus was a little bit scary. A lot of ice and snow was piled up across town, as you can see here, and since the sun was out, a lot of that began to melt, causing big puddles. Like I said, sidewalks and crosswalks are covered in ice, making it tough to walk to and from class in some spots, like outside of the College of Business. So icy that even at King Soopers, I saw an elderly man fall down. He got up and he was okay, but be careful out there if you're walking. Hopefully the sun will continue to stay out and continue to melt the ice.
Yeah, I'm glad that man that you saw is okay. And certainly this sun has been melting a lot of the ice. I know there's a small stream in front of my apartment today.
Absolutely. There's a giant puddle outside my house. I can't even drive my car through it. It's ridiculous. It's a mess.
It is a mess. A man is in jail for charges of child abuse and attempted first-degree murder. Fort Collins police arrested Edgar Beckford for allegedly injuring a 6-week-old baby in early March. The child was taken to the hospital for serious head injuries, where hospital staff were able to call authorities and report the abuse. Police have not yet commented on the well-being of the child, and the investigation is ongoing.
More than 12,000 people are voting to strike against King Soopers and City Market for higher wages and better sick leave. The employees are represented by the United Food and Commercial Workers Union. These representatives told the Coloradoan they will continue negotiations with the company even after the vote to strike to avoid a walkout. According to the Coloradoan, there are only 25 King Soopers workers who are union members, but stores have put up signs asking for temporary employees to replace possible striking workers.
What would you do if your church didn't allow you to get married in it? That's the problem many LGBTQ people are facing. But this Fort Collins church is trying its best to change that.
The United Methodist clergy voted to keep the ban on same-sex marriage and LGBTQ plus clergy members early in February. The vote failed 374 to 449, a difference of 75 votes. Yet while the denomination voted, the Fort Collins United Methodist Church is taking a stand. Pastor Melanie Rose says that the Book of Discipline has rules that deems homosexuality incompatible with Christianity.
Many of us find that offensive and abhorrent and do not believe that at all. And so we have continued to treat LGBTQAI brothers and sisters as full equals, full participants in the church.
The church is resisting this rule since they felt the vote didn't fit with American ideologies.
Because we're governed globally, we had many delegates from Africa and places where gay people can be jailed or killed. And that's why that legislation passed. Over 2/3 of the American delegates were opposed to it and find it offensive.
While the denomination is divided on this issue, the Fort Collins Church is prepared to stick with their stance.
We don't support it, we won't support it, and everyone is welcome here. We'll resist, even if it means leaving the United Methodist Church.
The United Methodist Church has traditional services every Sunday and a modern service at 5 in the evening on Sundays.
Spring break is almost here, and for some students that means fun in the sun or skiing across Colorado. But for others, it can mean returning to school with an STD. The annual Get Yourself Tested campaign begins the Monday following spring break and continues until April 19th. The CSU Health Network encourages everyone to practice safe sex, which means getting tested after every new partner. If you have questions about your sexual health, there are several resources available on the CSU Health Network website, health.colostate.edu.
Celebrate in March, the beginning of spring, St. Patrick's Day, March Madness, but more importantly, it's a time to remember and celebrate women across the world. CTV reporter Janae Hancock is here in the studio with us tonight to talk about women at CSU. Janae?
Thanks, Ryan. To the Women and Gender Advocacy Center, Women's History Month means coming together even more to support and be a resource for people who identify as female.
I am a caring woman.
I am a strong woman. Queer.
I am a Black and Puerto Rican woman.
March has been recognized as Women's History Month since 1987.
Our job and our mission is to serve as a confidential resource for survivors and victims of interpersonal violence, which is sexual assault, stalking, and relationship violence, as well as provide programming to prevent such things from happening. So we do those two things sort of simultaneously.
The Women and Gender Advocacy Center represents and supports students and faculty by providing programs and resources on campus.
Our biggest event during Women's History Month is the Feminist Thought and Activism Conference, which is the last Saturday of March.
The Women and Gender Advocacy Center is coming together to recognize women's history and the challenges they face.
I would say one issue women have to face on campus is probably the stereotypes. So like if you're in a sorority, you kind of just get stereotyped as like maybe a dumb blonde in a sense, or if you're in a certain major.
I guess I believe women on campus probably face more discrimination than men just based on the way that they present themselves. At least I know for me, like I have short hair, and I think that not having as many feminine like attributes definitely plays into some of my interactions with people on campus for sure.
A lot of classes that I have, they can be male dominated.
People saying like sexual things towards you when you pass them.
It's really important for women to gather together and feel empowered to clean up some of the mess that men have made in society. So.
For more information about the Women and Gender Advocacy Center, you can visit wgac.colostate.edu. Back to you, Ryan.
Thanks, Janae. Now, Marlo, I've been seeing a lot of outrage on Twitter about the college admissions scandal, but I'm not really sure what's going on. Can you explain it to me?
Yeah, Ryan, absolutely. We all know that getting into college isn't easy. It's a long process of exams, essays, letters, and applications. But earlier this week, some celebrities were put in the hot seat for making it easier for their kids to get into universities. According to CNN, celebrities like Lori Loughlin, also known as Aunt Becky from Full House, Felicity Huffman from Desperate Housewives, coaches at elite colleges, SAT and ACT administrators, and more are facing federal charges and imprisonment. The scam is one of the largest the U.S. has ever prosecuted. Parents paid upwards of $75,000 to get higher scores on their kids' standardized tests. The entire scheme was orchestrated by William Rick Singer, CEO of a college prep company called The Key. The Loughlin family paid $400,000 for their daughters, Olivia Jade and Isabel, for their acceptance into the University of Southern California. Investigations into other universities such as Stanford, UCLA, Georgetown, and Wake Forest are still underway. This scheme raises questions across the country for admissions offices. Students at universities like Stanford, UT, and Yale have begun to sue their colleges after denial into the programs. Students across CSU expressed their opinions about this scandal.
It's really unethical that they're paying their way in. Like, as a student, you should be working hard to get the grades to get into schools, and to just be on high up profile to pay money into getting to something is like not okay.
Well, this isn't really like, I don't think it's that big of an issue just because there's so many like other things that happen. Like, you can get into a school because you know somebody, like you can get into school because you have money. There's just like so many privileges. I don't think it like affects us that much.
Yeah, like it's not fair, obviously, that like someone can just pay to get in, but also like I feel like it doesn't really affect me on a personal like level, so.
Yeah.
I think that's totally unethical. I think that if they're that rich to begin with, they should have like all the resources in the world to do it ethically. And the fact that they do it unethically, it's just, it's not fair to other students and other students that don't have the same resources as they do.
I think it's unethical just because these students are getting into highly accredited universities based on things that they had no control over or their own merits or academic performance. So I think it's unethical and is hurting the performance of these schools because they're receiving a lot of applicants of people who aren't accredited enough to actually attend these universities but get in and are considered because of their parents' standing in society.
Now, Marlo, as we know, yesterday we had a great day off, a nice snow day.
That's right.
And while most students were probably in home, staying warm, staying inside, 2 students, whether they came from their dorms or their homes, went onto campus actually and decided to go to the Behavioral Sciences building to play Halo Reach.
On the giant screens.
On the big screens, on the big lecture screens. As you can see in front of me right now, this is a screen recording from Canvas because when they went to the BSB, they didn't know that the E360 cam, which is what records the lectures, automatically turns on at 1 o'clock, regardless if school's in session or not. So most people on Wednesday during their snow day got a notification saying the lecture has been posted, and they found this, 2 people playing Halo Reach in the BSB, and I just think that's the best way to spend your spring break. I mean, we get the big screen, it's just so great. And I also find it funny because, you know, you got to bring the Xbox, you got to get all the cords, you got to connect it to the internet, and yet
you're lugging all that stuff across campus on a cold, windy day like yesterday.
I know, throughout all the snow, and yet some teachers can't even get a YouTube video to play in those lecture halls, so it was pretty funny seeing those kids set that up.
Wow, what a great day. I wish I had that idea. I wish I would have done that.
I know, right? Me too.
Well, Rams, don't go anywhere because Litos has your full spring break weather forecast.
And you want to know what you should wear for St. Patrick's Day. I know I'll be wearing green.
Look at you. You're at the top of your game. You're unstoppable.